Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of MMO Development or Concept Art class. Yours truly, Mr. Derek T. Stevens and Mr. Windex Nelson. Tonight at my side, we both have our fuzzy bunny slippers on. I'm contemplating getting leather pants for real, and we have our thongs and cowboy hats on. And welcome, as I said, to another edition. And we got lots and lots of stuff going on. And I'm going to break this to everybody. Some really cool news. I'm talking to the art director and owner at Shot in the Dark Comics. Apparently we'll be inking a book for them as well as all the other crap and silly stuff that I'm doing. But the exciting news is I have convinced her to give you guys a shot at doing your own book. That means I'm going to have to filter out some artists, give a couple tryouts. This is going to be a paid gig. She's very cool, very receptive, only lives about an hour and a half away from Dixon, Tennessee. So next time I'm down, I plan on meeting her. But I told her about some of the great artists that we have here, and she's very interested in working with some of you guys. Now, the pay is paid. It would be a great opportunity for you to be a letterer, an inker, a colorist, doing pencils per page. Now, I don't have the final say who does or who does not get it, but I have the in and the connection to help you guys out. So we will be setting up a special place on 3D Buzz to, I guess, give me some of your samples if indeed this is what you're interested in. Because anyway, we got tons of stuff going on at 3D Buzz right now that a lot I can't really talk about, but there's some stuff that I want to talk about. Speaking of stuff, a playable level, is that what you're working on right now, Mr. Nelson? For the MMO?
I don't know what you mean by that.
To have like little guys running around, jumping around in a level, even if they're like little circles or stuff. All right, well, I won't spoil all the fun and all that, but Nelson's not sleeping either. He's working hard for the money. So we have some exciting announcements getting ready to roll out for everybody. And on the forums, we've been asking about, soliciting feedback from the students, and seriously, it has been overwhelming how great the response has gotten. Each one of, I guess, the suggestions, they are going to be visited. We're retooling right now as we speak. We're preparing for new classes, and for classes that have gone on and were not finished. We plan on doing a lot of great things, so definitely want to stay tuned for that. I appreciate everybody being here. So tonight we're going to be talking about MMO development, our Elysians. I know I was supposed to draw a couple of armor guys, some male Elysians. I did that. Mr. Ray also wanted me to do some concept art for the main heroine, some of the clothes that may or may not make it into the book. We're going to go over that. But before we get it all started, can you go ahead and bring some of the guys in? Sid there by chance?
Yep. So Sid.
Mr. Ray, of course, Steve and Wolf. And if Eve's there, because we got comic book stuff to talk about too. Man, Wolf has been working his butt off as well.
Doesn't seem like Eve is here now.
Huh? I'm here.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Hey.
Hey, so you heard the announcement? Because I kind of gave you a heads up online a couple days ago about the comic book.
Yeah, I heard the announcement.
All right, good. I think it will be spot on. What I want you to do, Mr. Wolf, before we get started, you don't have a copy of the first actual page of the MMO, do you? But you have the other copies of the other pages you're working on, correct?
You mean the one that you first gave me?
Right. Well, actually, no, you have it. It's just the top panel's changed around a little bit. What I like for you to do is...
Well, I have the top one, too.
Okay. Well, I like what you do, to prepare, because I definitely want to come to you. You have all the works there. Go ahead and pull them up on your screen, because I want to visit that very shortly.
Sure
before we start going in deep into the comic book and this and that, good turnout tonight. I want to open up the panel real quick. Any questions or comments from the last class? Anything brewing in your noggin, in your brain pan that you might be thinking about right now that you want to ask? Go ahead and raise your hand, and we will get to you as soon as humanly possible.
And I'm ready anytime.
Okay, roger that. So, Mr. Nelson, anybody raising their hand, like wanting to talk and shout out from the rooftops?
I don't see anybody, no.
Okay, Sid, are you there, girl?
Yes, hi.
Hey, girl, how you doing? I've been seeing some of your work online. Brilliant stuff.
Thank you. I'm doing all right.
been seeing some of Chelsea's work online as well, and I've seen there's just a lot going on. So you heard the announcement about the comic book deal, right?
Yeah.
Right, good. Yeah, all of us going to be talking about some very positive things in the near future. I definitely want to try to make money for you guys and, get you guys feet wet on a good company, and sky's the limit. Because we're also collecting testimonials here at 3D Buzz, because we definitely want some, I guess, the newer members who come on board to say, hey, if I do X, Y, and Z, does this stuff really work? Well, very soon we'll have a very working platform for MMO, and all the concept art will definitely pay off. So, Sid, let's visit. I guess let's get the comic book pages not out of the way. Let's do that first.
Well, I don't have comic page done.
I know,
Okay.
because this is if Eve's there. What happened was the dialogue. There was so much dialogue and information on one of her pages. She went on and made a fourth page, which ordered up the page count, and no one knew what page they were supposed to do. So I want to get that sorted out tonight. So let's take Mr. Wolf's screen and let's dissect this so we know what we're doing. So this is page 2.
This is page 2, and I'm trying 2 different. I think I might like the red hair better.
I like that.
Then see for here, like the blue hair pops more, but then the red, especially here, you kind of lose it in the crowd.
Right.
So I tried to add some highlights, and I think that helps a little.
I
Yeah,
can
that
see
helped.
that. Definitely helped.
Like
So this
the closer you go, the more that shows. So that it really shows.
I love your little shadow you gave the little girl. The highlights do pop. Really, really well done. Now this is page 3, correct?
Oh, one of the down. Yeah, this is page 3.
So
yeah,
you said she did a page 4. What part of page 4 did she do?
Oh, her 3 is 4. Okay, wait. That is over here. Let me. There you go.
Okay. Right. We've seen this last class. So technically this is actually still page 3.
Right.
She made a page 4. So we need a 4, 5, and 6. Sid, I asked you to do page 4, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so literally just pick it up off page 4, but it'll be page 5 in the series.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
And then Eve and I will do 6 and 7.
And this, of course, is page 1.
It's coming together, guys. Coming together quite well. I'm impressed. And once they're all up, I want at least 5 to 7. And Mr. Nelson, please, I'm sorry, Mr. Windex, reiterate on how many you would want in the can before we put it. I like to have a link on the front page or a small banner so people can click on it. Oh, here's a comic book, and we change it up once every 4 or 5 days. And here's the next page, and then also let them have the ability to go back and read previous pages. Is that possible?
Yeah.
Awesome. I really believe once we do that, we get the story going and all the pages done, it's really going to spark more interest in what's going on, especially what Mr. Windex is working on when that gets completed as well. And again, I guess the other good news and the really cool news is our radio show. We're going to have a radio show this coming Friday, correct, Mr. Nelson? What time are we going to start that?
6 o'clock Central.
6 Central, so 5 my time, Eastern time. We have we're starting to highlight special guests in the industry, from comic books to phone app games, a lot of movie people that I've met, directors, special effects people, we have a lot in store, and we're going to try to get them on board at least once a radio show. And we're going to link you up to their Facebook page, their home page, allow you to ask questions on the radio station, like how'd you get into it, and blah, 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 blah. And we want to do is try to throw you as much information and help as possible. Because, you know, we've all been in, I guess, working in the industry for a while here at 3D Buzz. Nelson's been around the block a few times. I'm not any spring chicken, and it's time to bring contacts to you guys to help you guys out even more to succeed. And the way I've learned is by watching and asking questions. And there's no such thing as a stupid question, except are those other pants on sale? Chirp, chirp. Okay, thank you very much, Sid, for not even chiming in on that one. Because
Are they?
Well, I'm going to go online. If I get 20% off some other pants, next time I'm down at Buzz's house, I'm rocking that stuff.
Oh, dear.
Oh, heck yeah. All right, so Mr. Wolf, we've seen this color work here. Anything else you want to add? Go back to the highlights real quick on the Elysian chick.
Okay. What do you think? Red or blue? I think at least the red makes her orange hair make a little more sense or something. Kind of.
I agree with that, especially close up. I mean, it looks really good. I love how you did the highlights.
Yeah, it's two different layers of highlights.
Layers are your friend.
Layers. Okay.
Now, are you using the blur tool, or are you just making another layer, a multi-layer, or how are you doing this?
Yeah, I'm doing two different layers. One, like this one right here, is just the first layer, and if you can see, you can see the layer under there. So I've done it here, and you can kind of see where it's lighter here, and then on top of that, I did another layer. I didn't blur it. I did use a soft blur brush, but I probably should have. I mean, it would have been okay to blur it a little bit, not too much, but I think it doesn't need it. It's so small, it really doesn't need to be blurred.
No, exactly. But at the same time, I really appreciate the amount of work that you put to the detail, because devil's in the details. The thing I learned, I went to a HeroCon this last weekend. That's why class got buttered up and yada, yada, yada. Great time, very receptive, 4 or 5 companies. Yeah, I want you to work for us. I want you to do pinups. I don't have time for any of that, but I did go because I got like tons of cards, more contacts for the radio show, which was really, really cool. But the thing I learned from these guys from New York, they loved a lot of my work, but establishing shots are so important. He's like, listen, all you have to do is put a lot of detail in your first panel. And then the other 3 or 4 panels on the page, you can kind of cheat, not to like, if you have say a guy at a news desk, that first panel, you have all the news stuff, the desk, pictures, coffee mug, this and that, tons of detail. And then you can start getting away with like panel 2, maybe a mid shot of them. And you have to draw that detail. The desk is already established. You just have a couple of lines. It's brown. It's a desk, maybe a coffee cup. And then, get a close-up shot of a reaction to his face. And then, you can get even an extreme close-up or pull back a little bit more. But once you get that establishing shot, and most of my work had it, but some of my older stuff, some Batgirl stuff I did, like, you don't have an establishing shot here. And I kind of chuckled to myself. I'm like, I got to shut up, because that's why I told everybody here. I'm like, when you get critiqued, you just shut up. But the irony of it is, I went to one booth, and they're like, oh, yeah, you're awesome. Let's do this. And I love how you broke these panels up. It's artistic and cool, and it points to, and the eye flow is great. I swear to God, the next booth I went to, guys seen the same page. These other guys are like raving about, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm storytelling. He's like, you can't do that. People get confused. You just need 4 or 5 panels. They need to be like, squares, very regimented and blah, blah. I'm not built that way. Now, if he was my client and he wanted me to do it, my art director, I would do it that way. I kind of like to flow a little bit more, as long as the eye follows everything around. And that's something to keep in mind, because we're talking about comic books right now. So there you have it. There you are. Miss Sid, now that you know what page you have to do, you can have this comic book page done by the time the show is done, right?
Funny. I don't think so.
No, thanks.
That is good info, what you just said. Thanks for sharing.
Well, just like go ahead and pull back real quick. Let's dissect Eve's page just real quickly.
All the way.
Yeah, all the way. That first panel there, that's the establishing shot. You got all those
Right.
people in the crowd. Everybody is there. And then boom, you don't have any background.
Yeah, for the next three, no background.
But it's already established. There's the kid, there's that red cape, and then the guy in the hat who's in the first panel as well, different point of view. And then we're going back to tight shots of the baby. That first panel sums everything up. There's your establishing shot, mid shot, close up, a different camera angle, different point of view. So the camera angles are super, super important, but that establishing shot has got to be there. So that's what I learned, and I will continue to do in my everyday life. So I'm excited about that.
Of course, little things like this, you can't add a lot of detail. For one, I mean, it would just be clutter.
All right.
It'd be a mess. But the brushes at this point are very small, so you'd be going in with 1 pixel, and it would just be hard to read. And
you're totally right.
But you don't need it because you're not going to see. The eye is not really going to pick up on a lot of details for people who are far away or anything that's far away. So
it's kind of like the Rorschach psychological test. You see ink blots, and 9 times out of 10, if it looks like a mushroom, it's probably a mushroom of some sort. Our eye is trained to. We look for patterns. I was outside on my deck the other day, and if I had a ballpoint, not a ballpoint pen, but a Sharpie, I would just start drawing. I swear to God, I seen a penguin in the wood grain. I'm like, that's a freaking penguin. I could so draw this right now. But we're accustomed to seeking out patterns and making sense out of things. And like you said, the details that range aren't super important. They're already established up there, the mother and father. Also the dialogue, the color helps out tremendously. And it's a good read.
And too many details would actually hurt the read. It just
I totally agree.
What's going on. The one thing I worried about the highlights here, the lighting highlights, was that since it was just on her, I didn't know if that was going to seem weird, and then you would go, oh, what, you would expect to see it on him and other stuff.
Sid, what do you think, girl?
I think he's been doing a good job. Like, I was sharing thoughts with him over the week, and I like everything he's done so far.
Me too. I love that little drop shadow you put on the little girl. She's
This
looking
one?
up. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love how her eyes really pop because this is a great drawing that Eve did here.
And again, the background, this is a circle. Not a lot of detail there, but it's one hell of a good read. Go ahead and go to her next page. Let's see if she has an establishing shot there as well.
Okay, hold on. Nope. Not backward anymore. It's a close-up.
Well, she opened an establishing shot, but at the same time, it's a continuation of what's really going on. Let's see,
Right.
1, 2. Okay, close your eyes and look with me. My page is page 1. You open it up. Hers is page 2, and this is on the other side, directly on the other side, page 3. So you can have correlation because they're going to be right next to each other, so that helps out tremendously.
Well, this is 3 and 4, actually.
This is number 4.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. My
That's
bad.
right.
All at once. Okay, well, that blows that theory all out of the water. But hey, it's still a damn good read. It's going to be great with all the color added, and people will be able to follow the story. That's the main thing. I want to tell the story. So from here, hopefully, no pressure on Sid, but by next week, she will be able to, get something done for us. Chelsea's establishing shot. We got the family shots, some chick with her, I guess, toddler, and then it's just a mid shot or close-up of the little kids.
Check it out. I even have some red bounce light.
I like that. It's good.
I wanted to further highlight this.
It's good.
Yeah, I tried to make some glare in the windows. I don't know.
I can see it.
if I did that correctly or not, but I just gave it a try.
It looks good.
Okay.
And again, you know, the establishing shot close up the kids. We still know that they're in the mom's arms, and then we're pulling back for the mother and father for the important part of, hey, you know, we got some major mojo going on tonight. So it's going to be a good read.
Here's another thing that the reason I made the pattern like this, like a stalk around the edges and it lights up, because I wanted to draw the eyes to them, make it seem a little more intimate. But the one thing I worried about is people mistaking that for the light source, like maybe the sun was here or something, and think that the shadows are wrong. The sun is, you know.
But I love your logic, and you're totally right. That's going to draw that reader's eye in there. And it breaks up the boring pattern of just a solid color. I mean, a color that looks good. All right, so well done.
Thanks. I was messing with, is Ray here?
No, is Mr. Ray here, Mr. Nelson? Mr. Windex?
Can you hear me?
Barely.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Ray, can you turn yourself up just a little bit?
There's no way I can control that from here. They had that last time as well. I think Nelson controls that.
I just turned my own headphones up so I can hear you a little bit better now.
Okay. Yeah, I had to log out and come back in, so I'm glad everybody can hear now.
Awesome. So what are you thinking so far?
I really like it. I mean, I did make a couple of comments to Eve about the way the first page she did ends, and I also had made some comments about the second page, which has already shown up, but she did make the changes on her second page. I haven't seen the changes yet on the first page, though.
Okay. And I've not been able to get a hold of Eve this week. It's been crazy on my end. I'm sure it's been crazy on her end as well.
Yeah, I haven't heard from her since Thursday. We were talking.
She's doing some kind of a job for a university that really got her jammed, I think.
So we will definitely be able to revisit everything.
Hey, Ray. Well, how do you pronounce your name? Sincha?
Sincha, yeah.
Sincha. I was messing around with some concepts for the design. I think I might like this one for her stone.
Yeah, that looks good. You know, as I said, her stone and the stone when we finally see it of the hooded figure are going to be similar, but they have to be very different from everyone else's stones. That's an important plot element.
What do you guys think?
I like the one you pointed out to, because I can see that being lodged right above the clavicle meets.
And you have to be able to read it from a distance. So yeah, that has a nice profile.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Well done, sir. Well done indeed. All right. I guess go ahead and take my screen back. Or no. Sid, what did you work on this week?
Because there was a lot of confusion on the whole comic page thing, I was just playing around with character concepts and sharing with Wolf, even though I did do a little bit of armor.
Well, you should show all of that because it was some good stuff.
Let's go ahead and show all of it if you don't mind. Go ahead and take Sid's screen, and then we'll take mine, and we'll talk. And I got some cool things. We're going to develop a dungeon later on tonight, almost like a playable level, going back to my roots of D&D, geeking out for you. So anyway, take it away, Miss Sydney. Splain.
This first one was just because when last class you had originally said page 5, and going from Ray's list of scenes needed, 5 was when Sincha was an adult or a teen, I guess. So I was doing some concept work for her, and I was doing some concept with her soul stone. That was my first one.
She has pretty lips.
Good-looking gal.
Good-looking gal.
Wow, Mr. Ray's getting frisky over there.
That was just more concept with casual clothes, what to do.
I really like this one.
That is nice. I like that one a lot.
That's pretty much how I pictured her.
Cool, cool, cool.
What do you think,
Even though
Mr.
now
Ray?
I'm doing her as a kid.
Well, you know, after about page 4, she's not a kid anymore, and this is a really good-looking heroine. I like it.
I love her hair, how it's pulled back into a top knot in essence, but it's still you got that feel of the elongated head.
Yup.
Yep.
So that's what I was going for, G.
This was just an armor idea, going with the dragon theme.
I like it, but I don't like the one that looks like a beard because it looks like a beard.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're right. That's kind of like what I have right now.
Kind of freaks me out a little.
It kind of freaks me out a little. Can always get rid of it.
Is her name Lola?
No.
Probably don't get that.
No.
I bet Mr. Ray does, though.
I'm sorry?
I said, what does her call her Lola? I said,
Yeah.
the kids won't get that, but I'm sure you and I, yeah.
As far as the head thing goes, it looks nice. It looks like a decorative piece, but it doesn't look like a functioning piece.
I
Yeah.
agree.
There's plenty of room for decorative.
And she told her to shave.
Yeah, she needs a shave, but
The one thing I would change on that, and it's something that I talked to Derek about, is I don't think they would use actual dragon scales because dragons can be killed with swords. But I think that they would have something that looks like this, but it would be made from, it would be inspired by dragon scales, but it would be made from very advanced, very tough, lightweight materials, and probably would look more ceramic. That's where my head goes with this. I like the overlapping plates and the look on the arms and the legs like a snakeskin kind of a thing. But I don't think that we want them to look like they actually came off of an animal. I think we want them to look like they were fabricated, inspired by the animal scales.
And if you guys watched, and I'm sure everyone here has because we're all uber geeks, but Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, the Rohan people, there were horses on frickin' everything on their armor, their swords, and this, because, I mean, live and die by the horse. And I can see the Elysians very much revering the dragons. And like Mr. Ray said, there's tons of stuff inspired by that. And the more Mr. Ray and I are talking, and I agree, and he says, this is not a medieval world. Dragons are able to be killed by swords. So if these people are going to be standing up to mech warriors, soldiers, and God knows what else that we create, may not hurt to look like it. But I don't know how much armor that we're going to get from dragons and this and that. And unless it's maybe sold in the black market. I mean, there's still tons of possibilities. But he made some very valid points.
the hands, maybe try one with like the fingers cut off. I'm not the fingers cut off. But
I know what you mean.
I know what you mean, too. That's funny. She's called Lefty. Lefty Lola.
She would
That's
look
what
great
she's
with all
ashamed.
those limbs. I don't know why you're...
I love the legs and the pants. I do like the overlapping plates. Beautiful, well done.
Danke.
Bitte.
This
Bitte,
is right
bitte.
before class, so it's not colored in, so I don't know how well the read is, but meal armor,
Okay.
didn't have a lot of
It
time.
reads-
I like
Yeah.
it.
You
I like
like
the
it?
little cape that he's got going on.
Yeah, for some
very-
reason I kept doing that.
Very katanish looking weapon.
Mhm.
But yeah, I like it. I like the overlapping plates and stuff like that.
Cool, cool.
I
And
like
this was another
the
one. Oh, you like what?
in the middle of his in the chest, all the little pointy. I mean, they're what the little triangle things, whatever the plates.
Yeah, plate.
That-
Pretty
Like
much.
they have, yeah, like over the. I like how they don't go from one end to the next. They're just in the middle there.
Yeah.
And how they kind of taper down.
It's like trauma plates in our vest that I used to wear. I mean, they're there for a reason. They cover their heart. Second chance, good to have.
And that was this other one.
The more and more I see your pieced together armor like this, and I can't speak for everybody because it's not my game. In the beginning, I was thinking Avatar, duh. Sorry about that. And then, more medieval and stuff. And I like this area here where we're going with that, where it is futuristic looking. But they can still have, their rituals and still be, all the story can still be driven the same. But why not have them a little bit more techy?
Yeah.
Right, especially because, if they're being shaped by magic, they're not restricted to what they can do with a hammer and
Right.
some
Mhm.
metal.
Also, why not, like you said, fabricate dragon scales on these things if you wanted to,
Mhm.
or leaves or whatever. But I like this piece together look because it makes them the ability to be agile. These creatures that we've created are elongated, long, lanky, but strong and powerful. And the way I've always pictured them moving in my mind, very cat-like. They're going to be able to jump around, and you just can't do that in heavy armor.
Now, a type of armor that I thought about, which would be completely different, I think, from anything anywhere, would be a suit, whether it's on a male or a female, that's essentially either like lace or like a spider web, very form-fitting. And at the places where the fibers cross, there would be small stones who have the power to create small force fields. It'd be sort of like, I don't know if anyone knows, like roly-polies, the little centipedes that roll
Oh, yeah.
the ball when they get scared. Well, these little stones do a force field when they get scared, and the Alethians have placed them at strategic points over this very light, very flexible mesh that they're wearing, and their soul stone coordinates those stones to create a full body, movable force field whenever they need protection, but it's not on all the time. So it would look a little bit like it was sequined when it wasn't on, and then the whole entire body would glow when it is on. Because I think we need to start thinking about things that are completely unique to Alethea and are not necessarily inspired by things from other games or stuff we read in books, because we have a world here that has its own technology. And one thing I'd really love to challenge people to do between now and next week is set a time on your phone for a couple of days from now. And when it goes off, look at what you're doing, look at what the people around you are doing, and how would that be done on Alethea using the stones? And let your imagination go a little crazy. I think we can create some things on this planet and in this world that are completely different from anything else if we let ourselves think that way.
Odds are I'm looking at really hot chicks on the internet for art purposes. So, seriously, 'cause that's why I draw hot chicks. So I'll be interested to see how an Elysian would do that. Anyway, go ahead, please.
And crystal balls or something. I think, Ray, you were talking about movable pieces like magic, change, like activating it at just kind of like electricity would or whatever. Movable pieces to the armor and weapons.
Well, this would be just like you were wearing a suit with small shiny things on it, wherever the spider web crossed or wherever
okay.
is crossed.
Okay, but then I'd like to add to that you can also, anything that you could do with a technical, human mech suit, I guess, you could do something like that, like, movable pieces, something changing with magic, changing.
I think in a lot of ways,
the
the Alethians are not nearly as limited as what the humans will be. Let's real quick. We got more and more people in here, which is an awesome for the class. So far, we've gone over. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Because I definitely want more and more, feedback. The more we get, the better off we're all going to be. So if Mr. Windex, if you can look at the panel page, if there's anyone raising their hands.
Sydney could show up more of our stuff too.
Yeah, I definitely want to see more Sid stuff, but I also want to give an opportunity in case there's some questions.
Not saying anything, no.
All right. Continue, Sid, please. And I like Mr. Ray's idea, so let's do that. Next week, set your alarm sometime, and let's see what's going on and how that could be affected with the Elysians.
Let's see how they colorize comic books.
Yeah, you do that, and I'm looking at hot chicks on the internet.
This is going to be the bestest game ever.
Yeah, fuck on. All right, explain, Lucy, explain. I like this. Great. I love this look.
Well, I mean, this could obviously be used for other characters, but before, since there was comic book confusion and stuff, and I thought I was going on later, I was just reading Ray's descriptions of each of the characters, and this was just kind of how I pictured Cinch's dad in my mind, and I sent it to Wolf, and then just going off of what I just saw now in the comic, I just went back and changed the colors. But that's just kind of how I pictured his face.
I like that. I like that a lot. I love the texture of your hair.
They're both really nice.
And I love the eyes. The eyes are what capture it for me. There's intelligence there. It looks like he's caring. He's a good dad.
Yeah, I wanted him to be, like, friendly looking.
He's like Alan Thicke.
You did good eyes on this.
Thank you.
Yeah, well done.
And
the
this
facial
one,
expression. Ooh, hello.
this is the one that was supposed to be Cinch's mother. Ray kind of described her as kind of sad looking most of the time, so I was trying to go for that.
I get great eyes.
That's after seeing Wolf's color changes.
That's nice. You know what she's sad? She too cannot find leather pants on sale. That's all right.
But yeah, that's what I've got for this week. That's all of it.
Really well done. Mr. Ray, what's your input, sir?
I really like it. I'm completely blown away with the quality of the work you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Okay.
Here's I'm going to throw this out because this is the way I always have perceived the Elysians, very animalistic at times. I like the claws. And we've not really gone over the teeth, but I see the teeth here. I like and I propose that their canines be elongated on the top and bottom. What is the canines on the top? But animalistic teeth.
Yeah, I kind of imagined that if their mouth was more open, they would have, animal-like teeth.
Did you notice what I kind of colored in? Because on the second page, Chelsea didn't. She had open mouths, but she didn't do the teeth. They kind of colored in, and they kind of gave them canines. I don't know.
Nice.
I don't know if you.
I didn't pick that up, but I'm glad that you. Again, Wolf, you're such a good thinker about all this, with the way light bounces. This and that. You're great at details. And that's what's going to make this.
Chelsea wonders if we can jump into her.
Yes, please. Punk. She texted me or whatever you call it on Xbox. I'm playing a better game than you are. I'm like, woman, you should be drawing right now. Are you there, Chelsea?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Hey, I can hear you. I love that top look.
Nice.
That her braid like hair. That's beautiful.
That's my favorite one. After the class last week, I actually drew these pretty quickly because we hadn't gotten to what Cincha, can't say that straight. We haven't gotten to how the main character looks when she is older.
The heroine, main character. What other adjectives besides Cynthia?
Yeah, that. So I was sort of messing with like some hairstyle she might have when she was older, stuff that might show off the shapes of the Elysians' heads with the elongated head. And I know
brilliant.
Sydney's had long hair, but I always pictured her with shorter hair myself just because of, can't remember when it was, but Ray was talking about one page where she's sort of angry about going into her testing because her stone doesn't work like everybody else's, and she doesn't know how it works yet, so she's just convinced she's going to die. So she kind of, in my head, comes across as a bit of a rebellious, so maybe shorter, more punk hairstyles I pictured.
If you went that way,
Teenager going through her punk phase.
it'd be kind of cool if you went that way. If she had the long hair at first, and before she went on her thing, she was just kind of in a punk statement. She'd cut her hair and it'd be all shocking and stuff.
She won't Mulan on her parents.
Yeah, those are great ideas, but I don't want Ray to have to write any more of the story than dialogue and put more panel work. Well, I guess
that all would work. I mean, if she, or just put it up in that braid, maybe when she's arguing with her mother, it's down, and when she shows up to go on her quest, she doesn't want long hair in her eyes, so she puts it up in that braid. That works too.
Yeah.
But I would have a problem with her having a little bit of a punk rebellious look that does fit her personality.
I think I'm going to fall in love with this character.
I already have. That's why I went and drew a bunch of stuff on her.
The girl with the dragon tattoo as
I need a cigarette.
Stop it.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's really cool how you did horizontal little braid thing, that kind of cornrow-like things, but they're horizontal. Yeah. That's awesome. I never would have thought of that. That's awesome.
I
had no idea how to do it, so I'm just kind of like, I'm just going to go like this and see if it looks good.
That makes it really unique.
And then I had one more thing, too, where I was just messing around with colors because we were talking about how last week we were talking about the different shades and tones of skin tones because they all had been sort of grayish. And so I went and did this, and I colored, of course, the one with my favorite hairstyle in it, and did just like some different skin tones to try out either for her or even different Alethians, and then I was messing with different shades of red hair.
At least you weren't messing with shades of gray.
No, I wasn't.
Mr. Ray even chuckled on that one.
Just trying to keep away from the very saturated blue of Avatar as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point, because believe it or not, before you said that and made that point, I literally was going to open my mouth and say, I like indigo blue like Nightcrawler, but you know what? That's kind of like an Avatar thing, so thanks for not making me look stupid.
Just a little bit.
Never mind. What's your favorite color, Chelsea?
I have no idea.
Mr. Ray?
Plaid.
What?
He said plaid.
Oh, I thought he said plaid. Smart ass. My favorite color is clear. I think they all work. I think they're really well done. And I'm glad that we're thinking. By night's end, though, I want us to agree, we'll have to, what that hairstyle is going to look like. If either I are going to draw it, I want to make sure that we get the consensus down. And
that's why I started doing the different styles, because I'm like, we should know this before everybody starts drawing their own thing.
I like the idea of your favorite hairstyle. That way we still can see the elongated look of the head, and we can even make it fuller in the back. It doesn't have to be braided in the back. It can still be full, so it's kind of a compromise for
it's I kind of like this one. It was more of a ponytail. I didn't draw it very full, but it's loose and down.
I think we can definitely have some fun with it, and I'm all about drawing her as an adult. Never mind. I know, right? I'm a guy. I can't help it. Like every 10 seconds, I think of food and women. I can't have either. I'm married and old. So, shut up.
I think not really anything else to show. I just was sketching here with this one.
Well, show the sketches off.
This was the only one I've got. The only other one. That's where I was playing with my hairstyle. I kind of did.
I really like that. Of course, it's hidden. That's all you need. Her chest plate or her breast area. I can say breast because it's important. I'm not just saying breast to say breast. Breast, at that time I did say breast just to say it. And I don't know how many more times I can say breast in a row without getting obscene. So, but I like that look because it's beautiful, sexy, and functionable.
Yeah,
Especially if
I
she's
wasn't
the
really
hot-
focusing on the clothing, really. I was just kind of drawing. I wasn't
I love-
picturing this more just everyday sort of thing.
I like that. That's important to have everyday clothes. I mean, can you imagine being Superman and that's all you have is his blue freaking tights? I'm going to the grocery market, baby. Yeah, just be kind of silly. So it's very important to have lots of different looks to choose from. And again, it really depends. Because with that, speaking of models and stuff, because there's no separate geometry for plates or this or that. That would be very easy to texture without overloading a lot of different things. That's also what we have to talk about. If we're going to do plates, I mean, how intricate are the models going to be? I mean, you can do a lot with textures and UV mapping. But again, I'm trying to think of the most cost prohibitive way to make the engine run faster and smoother. But this would only be a base model, and you would just paint on top of the textures for that clothing, and you'd add virtually nothing to it, for the engine working harder. And it's a great look. So well done.
Sweet, thanks.
Quite welcome. By the way, this is kind of off topic. What game were you playing you said was better than mine?
I don't remember because you got back
Candyland.
to me late on that.
Yeah,
I think it was
Candyland.
Dark Souls.
Whatever. All right. By the way, my bitch session right now, The Last of Us only comes out on PlayStation very soon. I don't have one, nor am I going to be pressured to buy a PlayStation. I'm an Xbox guy. So with that said, Mr. Windex, can you take my screen? Actually, you know what? This is top of the hour. Let's open the panel again to see if there's any questions in here that may need to be asked so we can answer them. We'll take a 5-minute break. We'll come back, and then we're going to I'll show what I've done this week, and then we're going to create a dungeon, kind of like what I do if I was a GM for Dungeons and Dragons, for the Queen's Lair. And this way we get something down that's rough, so when we make the level for it, at least we have a template. And it will also behoove the artist to like, okay, well, we have a base idea, and I can draw stuff, accordingly for, I guess, like a sketch. So that's what we're going to be doing when we come back. Do we have any questions, Mr. Nelson?
Not that I see, no.
All right. Woo, hello. Then we will take 5, and we will come back momentarily.
Ready?
Hey, welcome back, everybody. I personally emptied out every one of my ice trays as we talked and watched them refreeze. I'm glad I did that because I like iced tea. Mr. Windex cleaned all of his windows at the 3D Buzz house with a single ply of toilet paper on one side. Very impressed, Mr. Windex Nelson. But we're back like the New York groove. I appreciate everybody and everything. Chelsea, great job. And I think we've come to a general consistency. Is that it? Yeah, we are going to agree that we're going to do that haircut for Cynthia.
Consensus.
Sweet.
There you go. Thank you. Unless there's anybody who's opposing.
Well, I'm trying it, but I'm trying to do it like all over the head instead of just that one row.
We'll
see how it goes.
Try some different things. We can look at them. Good things happen when you try and be inventive.
Amen. Albert Einstein.
Please do save that. No, he wasn't for it. Please do save this, Chelsea.
What I'm doing right now?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
it's
plan
looking
on
good.
it.
I don't know why you're erasing everything. You don't like it?
Oh no, I put it on the wrong layer, and I went over it again and put it on the right layer.
Yeah. I just know you forget to save a lot, so this is
Yeah,
looking cool.
Or you oversave stuff, dork. Anyway, Albert Einstein said it best. Logic will get you from A to B, but imagination will take you anywhere. And as concept artists, we have to be aware of that. We definitely have to have some logic to our madness, but it's where imagination can take us. A lot of people can't conceptualize. It's too hard for them. A lot of people aren't built like this. They don't think like this. But you know what? We're going to be the ones building or designing the next space station. and then the logical guys will actually make it. But we're going to come up with some killer ideas. So speaking of killer ideas, maybe or maybe not said the liar. Mr. Nelson, if you can take my screen, I want to show Mr. Ray what I came up with, and then we're going to start building our little dungeon. Hold on. Okay. That's a card. No, I did not color this, but I like the coloring. Let's see, what am I at? That is another card. Okay. She's kind of swayed back here, but and I apologize in any color. These are literally sketches. Again, with the piece together armor stuff, let me get a different color right here. And you're talking about the different placements, Mr. Ray.
Mm-hmm.
I was picturing all these little placements through here. Because in game, go ahead.
Those would also be, at least some of them, good places for stones, magical stones to add power.
Thank you. That's actually what I'm doing. That's why I'm kind of coloring them in. But like, say you're on a quest and you get some sort of gauntlet, this area right through here. You could use crafting to put your own stones in here and give you pluses to, your dex, strength, stamina, whatever. That way, everyone can have their own different look for their stones or tailor-make to whatever character class they're playing. So on these sketches here, I really try to put, again, for the mid-thigh area, piece everything out and through here like that. And even up through here will be different stones that can be inlaid for decorative purposes. Here's our little soul stone area right through here. This is kind of more of a leather type sort of look underneath. And going with Wolf's little ponytail idea. This one here, she's got kind of the innocent mohawk looking look girl, but again, kind of an everyday type style. But even with her gloves, you have the different stones that come in through here. And again, some jewelry that are coming along through the legs. Because I like what Mr. Ray was talking about. Definitely the stones can be the key to so much because that's who they are. From their ideology to the way they worship, the way they move and think. It's all about the stones. So those are some of the ideas I was coming up with. Some more stones up through here. For the mill model, I need to grab. I was actually kind of happy with this. Again, a quick sketch. Hold on, let me do this. Where new one. Okay, hold on. I have so many things open. Come here, I'm gonna make multi-layer. Boom, it's multi-layer. Multiply, 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 multiply. Help me out.
You were on multiply.
Okay.
Now you're not.
Thanks,
Now
Mr.
you
Ray.
are.
But I don't need, hold on. Here we go. I need this here. Okay, now I can start coloring on this because my multiply layer is up here. All right, finally. Well, I'm having to delay my stylist. I wanted all this to be crystallized or like rock formation from a crystal, and it's not doing what I want. Anyway, all the ins and outs, all this is going to work in through here. But my idea was his hands underneath this gauntlet. And it's almost like a tuning rod. And inside this tuning rod, you would have one stone through here. Of course, multiple stones working up through the arm. And it could be a way to have a projectile weapon to be able to shoot out through this way and still be part of them. That way we're not using something that looks like guns. Not everyone has a blade or a bow, but it's something that's part of their body. And like you said, it's made from crystal.
Although hopefully they won't just shoot their feet like that.
I'm so clumsy I can't hit the ground, smartass.
He went between his toes. He didn't hit anything.
Yeah.
I thought that was through his foot and through whatever he was standing on.
All about perspective, smart aleck.
Yeah, that's exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about. That would be an Alethian weapon, and it's a unique weapon.
Right. It's nothing like, I mean, the general basics. It's a projectile weapon or a beam weapon. But depending on your stones, I mean, you could have this weapon-looking thing, and again, craft different stones to make this. I mean, can you imagine? I'm not for sure how we could work this out, but I'm sure Nelson could do it. Say you have like 2 times knockback in game form. So you have that particular stone set, and whenever you hit your opponent, instead of just doing damage, you do damage and knock the guy back several inches. You know, they have to run back to engage. So if you're taking somebody on who only has a sword or a knife, that'd be very beneficial for you to have. I mean, the door's open to any possibilities. That's just one of many that I was thinking about. And again, the reason I did all this sort of like, so what I'm looking for, spiky like armor stuff. Again, I'm almost picturing this crystal kind of like sea coral stuff, even wrapping around the legs through here. And I did leave plenty of room for, you know, like the chest up here is protected, more coral around here. And again, it can be interpreted any way, but I was really happy I came up with the idea of this arm type weapon because, again, Mr. Ray made a point, this is not medieval times. And why would they be stuck in the medieval times if they have all this magic and technology, or they call it magic? Well, they call it technology, maybe we call it magic. But again, just trying to think outside the box. So it was a happy time.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that Wolf suggested when we were emailing back and forth was that during her quest, maybe the top mage would be watching her somehow. Well, okay, if he's watching her, what's he watching her on? Well, how would you have something like an iPad in Alethea? Maybe you'd have a series of stones on thumb, 2 fingers, and the wrist that projected an image above your palm when you looked in it. You know, that kind of thing. I'm trying to think of something that's that does a function that we're used to, but in a way that's completely different.
I agree. And that's why I like your idea, like a couple days. I mean, like I said, I'll be looking at hot chicks on the internet, but you normal people might be doing something normal, like, you know, a normal job. So I'm interested to see what everyone brings back to the table next week. Again, with this guy, I did him first before I did the armband or Ray guy. Again, continuing with the spiky overlooked sort of, it actually reminds me of a gladiator because its whole side is very much protected, or this side's mostly open. So he's got all this stuff through here, all skin. But I gave him the crystallized looking mask. This side over here is all protected. And of course the crotch area, very important to protect if you're a dude. Another arm bracelet. And then I didn't want to be asymmetrical or symmetrical. I wanted it to be kind of different on one side compared to the other side. So this is a quick concepts that I did. Here's my dungeon thing. So that's what I was working on. So are you happy with the idea of the hand ray, Mr. Ray?
Absolutely. And you can have various kinds of them. That one might shoot, you know, like a laser kind of a beam. Another one might be really intense sound rays. Crystals are perfectly capable of generating sonic waves that are pretty fierce and at about any kind of frequency. You could even have crystals around a tube that took a steel or iron bolt and magnetically shot it at incredible speed that could be attached to somebody's arm. I mean, there are a lot of ways you can go if you just start thinking in those terms.
Right. And I think I was guilty just like everybody else, Mr. Avatar that I am. We came in with this mindset that, well, if the humans have all this technology, these guys have to be, and I hate the Ewoks, okay? I so hated the Ewoks in Star Wars, but they have to be that level of, like, you know, fighting the swords. And I like the idea of them fighting the swords and hand-to-hand weapons because evidently evolution has not taken hold because they still have the retractable claws. So I really like that aspect, but again, we need to think outside the box, especially if these guys are going to be taking on big robot mechs and armored guys, because the arrows is not going to shoot through a trauma plate. Unless you're an avatar, like 10 times the size of a normal man. All right, so hey, any questions anybody has?
What's the dungeon for? Is it the Hive or something else?
It's going to be for the Hive, and I just grabbed this kind of.
Because I've had some ideas for the Hive.
Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to draw it together tonight. So I drew this drew it. I actually grabbed this as an example. What I'm going to do is in the file new, go ahead and throw it up 300 DPI inches. We'll do 20 by 20. That's my favorite. And again, this is going to be multi-purposed for a lot of different reasons that will give us an idea of the vastness of the Hive. It will also give people, when we create this level, a starting point. And this is going to help the artist visualize kind of what's going on with the Hive. So what's your ideas for the Hive, Mr. Wolf? And I want Mr. Ray's input and everybody else's input as well. We're going to start down. If this is north, and it's south, and each, east and west over here. So where do you want to start at, Mr. Wolf?
Well, I'm thinking of it a lot in up and down as well, the different layers, levels.
Oh, that's fine. What we can do is we can get different layers. We'll draw the first one, and if there's stairs going down, we make a note. Goes to layer 2 or second level. Let's just get the first top level first.
Well, I'm imagining that these creatures can crawl on the ceiling and all over, and they have no problem with that. So I can tell you what I'm imagining. I guess you'd start up north on the left, being the entrance level, and it would be a bit more like a hall, for just a little bit, and then
correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Ray. The
hall going down.
They're inside a mountain, correct? Or
yeah, in the comic where she shows up, she's actually teleported at the bottom of a shaft that these guys have cut down into the solid rock. As sort of, they can climb up and down the walls, but people can't. And so she's put there as part of her test at the bottom of this shaft with these guys clinging to the walls above her head and around her. And her beast has come with her because she's been, at this point, grabbing hold of him every time she gets teleported and he comes along. So the two of them are at the bottom of the shaft with these creatures all around them, and the only place they can go is into the tunnels that start at the end of that shaft.
okay, so we're gonna have a shaft here. This is where she teleports. We have a
tunnel, and then it breaks off into it. Keeps going straight down, but it also breaks off to the right or to the east.
And this is going to be a labyrinth kind of a deal, a maze kind of a deal, with the one big area going to be the Queen's Chamber. But I think for gameplay as well as in the story, there are going to be lots of different places you can go before you get to the Queen's Chamber. And she's going to have to figure out, solve the maze and fight her way through, she and her beast, killing the soldier kind of creatures that are protecting the queen.
All right, so let's talk about some of the. I'm sorry, go ahead, Wolf.
The point of the first one that goes off to the east. What I'm envisioning there is that would be the shortest route, the most traveled but it would also be the most unwise for most critters to go. And the reason is I imagine it going straight to the east, and then it goes straight up, as in not north but up, and which you can't really show that there. And underneath, what it does is it's like a pathway that kind of opens up just a little bit wider, and there's water, like it kind of, there's a little bit of a crater with water in it, and but there's above that there's this tunnel that goes up, so they can easily just climb up there, and the reason for this is any animal that comes in there, maybe if they're not so good at climbing, they can't go that way, but if they can climb, it gives the advantage to the hive creatures because they've got gravity on their side, so they can be pushing them down, and then if they push them down, then they fall into the water, and maybe it's even gooky water, and maybe it's slimy or sticky or something, and so they can drown in the water and stuff. So that would be and the reason, one of the reasons that I wanted it to be the shortest route, because I wanted their scent to be strongly on that, so that I think that anything that was coming in would smell or sense or whatever that was the path, and think that was the good path to go, and then get into some trouble. So that was one of the first.
I like the logic. I mean, it comes to, like you said, water and a sheer cliff of 100 feet. Now, how's the heroine going to get up there if that's the route she decides?
She's not going to go that route.
Maybe she can escape that route. Maybe we can drive the player
you're right. If we're doing that, she could definitely escape or jump, especially if it's just water. Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the rooms real quick. Mr. Ray, they're going to have like not hive rooms, just little corridors where they sleep in, or how's that going to work?
I had mainly just thought about where she goes in. She has to fight her way through maze, get to the queen's area, and kill the queen in order to finally make it back. So, but I'm glad to see imagination going on here. Of course, they have places where they have food. Somehow they're going to sleep. When we looked at some of the drawings that we had earlier, one area might have been their eggs where the larvae were hatching. So you can have all of those things and more. I love the idea of the pond. Of course, they're going to need water. So they probably would have some kind of a little underground spring run through there. And it can be part of the game. And maybe Cynthia has to fight her way past that in the story. And I haven't gone into those details, though I don't think we can take up a lot of space in the fight, but maybe. That's the next section I need to put details in, is this series of quest things.
I was thinking that another route to the south would again have water, but it would also have a pathway along the south side. Like it'd be a path that would trail up, but so it'd be like a sheer cliff on the one side. So it'd be something that they could. Then again, you have gravity on their side, and something that they could fall into. But I was thinking that would be a place where they could bring food up, because it's a path. It's not this sheer cliff that they're.
Well, let's do that then. Let's just call it an angle or a grade that continues to go up so many feet. And this area right through here, I don't want to say it's a guard area, but rooms where, like you said, some of these things sleep. So in game, this is where she can engage, fight, blah, 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 blah.
Well, I was thinking it'd be cool, like if on to the east of that, instead of those rooms right there, if it was like a big area where there was water to that side, and I just think that you could get some really cool drawings with going up the from back away, showing like the water and the cliff, and showing like Sansa walking up this steep trail with this cliff and water there. It's you could do some, especially have glowing things and glowing in the water, and you could have some pretty cool looking scene there.
Well, it may not be a great read, but like you said, water, and I'm picturing bits and pieces of rock
Right.
that are sticking up from the water that some of these creatures could be at, moving around and glowing things.
Like crystals.
Mr. Nelson, I know in the last level that was built, you were able to go underwater and fight, correct?
I don't know if you're able to fight.
But you were able to go in the ocean.
Yes.
Are we going to be able to, is this something technically that we could do in this game?
Sure.
Would it be too hard? Okay, that would be cool. Maybe she gets knocked off. Definitely have to find a way to get back up through here, but I like that idea how it winds around and continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger up because, again, we're going up through a mountain. And you're right, Wolf, there'll be some really good visuals there. Sid, Chelsea, what are your thoughts on some of this?
What?
Stop drawing.
What are some of your thoughts about the dungeon?
I think it's cool to have underwater things. I think everybody likes underwater scenes that they can actually do. But,
I know as far as the comic book's concerned, let's actually, before we start straying off too far for the game and game levels and stuff, Mr. A, okay, what is it, here, screw this. Let's concentrate on the comic first, because we've got to get that done. And then we can come back and embellish everything.
Oh, you didn't save it?
That's all right. I have it in my mind.
All
my
right.
mind's eye. Just like Angelise Jolie's. Never mind. Beautiful.
For the comic, what you have to have is the bottom of the shaft with the entrance to the tunnels.
Okay.
The tunnels and the Queen's Chamber. Now, we can work in something like going along a cliff with water at the bottom. We can have her get knocked off and maybe her beast comes and helps pull her out. We can do that sort of thing, but that's embellishment. And if people want me to write that way, depends on how much comic real estate you want to devote to this part of the quest.
Right.
We can do it in one page. We can do it in 2 pages. You guys tell me how big you want that to be. But the bare essentials are the Queen's Chamber, the bottom of the shaft, and the tunnels that get her from the bottom of the shaft to the Queen's Chamber.
Gotcha. All right, Mr. Wolf, what's going on?
I was just thinking that could be some really cool visuals of her falling. Like, I mean, you could have her falling with her an angle where she's falling backwards, and her arms and legs are kind of outstretched or something, and she's falling. That I'm just saying that could be. Anyway, I also had another idea of an area where it kind of opens up a little bit somewhere, and remember around that environment concept that I did for the hive area.
the purple and brown.
Yeah, remember the one where the eggs were, where it's kind of that webbing it wasn't attached to the wall, it wasn't completely attached to the wall like the other side. It wasn't for support. Remember? Remember that at all? Anyway, I was thinking that there could be this open spaced room, a little wider, where there would be, let's just say if it was going from west to east, there would be could be kind of the lowest level, which is where the entrance to that and let's just say the two entrances to that particular room on the bottom level would be, and to the side of both of those entrances, there would be a slightly raised layer, and on that there'd be some kind of setup for a webbing kind of thing that assuming there was like a lot of like creatures that were coming in, not maybe another hive of creatures attacking, those things could close, separating some of the invaders and some of the ones that are coming in, and some of the ones that have already passed. Those could separate, and leaving some just to be that are just in that open space, but where they could control the numbers, and then they would have places the hive creatures would have places again, like coming down from the holes from the ceiling where they could come out, and so they could attack in great numbers with the other guys kind of shut off for a while, because it has that sticky netting thing. And so, I mean, they could eventually break through that, but for a while, so they could like clear off a big chunk of them. That's the kind of thing I was thinking. But and then just like Ray, I was thinking there would be a food storage area. I had kind of combined the food storage area with the queen egg hive area, main hive area. I don't know.
It makes sense because queen eats food and
but I think it'd be kind of cooler to make that the room just to the side of that, to where it's all stored, and then they bring
before we go even further, because you got some really great ideas, but we need time to digest some of these and talk about them instead of just going on and on and on. What right. I think, and I hope I got part of your idea, because this is what made me think of it. The area coming through here like this, where this is a bottom chasm. It's dark, it's deep, and this area right through here is too small for her to traverse, so she has to go through the webbing. But all these creatures can come down from the ceiling or come up from here, and there's only one, like you said, the control point here. So it would be very cool visually to have her walking on some sort of webbing here. And right. Again, for the fights, they can literally just keep coming from the walls, down, 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 and she has to fight back through here and then continue on.
That's different what I was saying, but that's really cool. I really like that idea. We definitely should do
that. Again, it's kind of hard to think like an insect. They don't really have to have a lot of entertainment. They don't have a pool they swim in, and so mostly food storage and places for them to sleep. How intelligent are these creatures, Mr. Ray?
The creatures themselves aren't very intelligent. The queen is she's not human intelligent, but she's the most intelligent one, and she sort of coordinates them all, essentially in a sort of telepathic way.
Would they be smart enough? You're one of those smart bugs, aren't you? Sorry, Starship Troopers. Would they be able to make traps?
Well, lots of predator creatures and plants make traps without being smart. Of course they could.
I mean, how cool would it be to...
I mean, a spider web is a trap.
True. Coming down where you have 3 separate hallways.
Kind of quicksand area. Where they
that,
could, maybe they could walk over it fine, but not everything can.
Well,
yeah,
now, again, we've got two different things here. All of these ideas would be great for gameplay, but we're going to have one part of her quest is going to be fighting her way to the queen and killing the queen. Now, we can make an entire comic book out of it if we want to. I mean, there's nothing that says we can't,
right.
but that's sort of where you're heading right now.
Well, the thing is, you don't have to use all these ideas, but it's nice to have all these ideas. So if you go, oh, we want something like that, where can we put it? Oh, let's put it in a cool place rather than just a blank
No,
comic.
I understand, and all of these ideas would be absolutely great for a game level, for all of them to be executed. But right now, we need to focus on what precisely do we want to have her fight her way through in the story.
Here's my 2 cents, right, wrong, or otherwise. I really want to showcase these insects, how they can crawl up and down the walls. We'll establish that in the very first.
That's established in the shaft when she shows
right.
up. They're on the walls around her.
I would love the idea of her, falling down in the waterway, and then her beast. I'm a beast.
Beast jumps in and pulls her out.
Because I really think that sets up, there's value there. It's a smart animal, and it's concerned, and there's that bond.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And then from there, maybe work our way into, I think this would be just visually awesome to have these strands glowing. Or I don't know how we'd visually capture it in the comic book. But how cool is it if she was to touch a strand that glows?
Yeah.
Brighter. I mean,
we could do that.
That would be really cool. And then we can have, again, another fight scene through here.
Where if she's kind of having to balance on it, it shows kind of gymnast style moves and stuff that her training, and you could even have it where she almost falls at one point, but has hold on and then pull herself back up.
The question I have is, how's the beast going to navigate the strings?
Well, it depends on how thick they are. They're going to be strong. She could, and these bugs are the size of Shetland ponies. So,
true that.
Their webbing could be reasonably thick rope-like stuff.
Okay.
So one thing you could have happen here is she comes into, you're saying this is a very deep hole. This is a big drop. And it's very dark until she touches the strands, and then the strands light up.
Right.
And she sees where it is, and now she and the beast have to make their way across this set of webs to get to the other side, fighting bugs the whole way.
I've got an idea. What if the beast doesn't have to cross that because they were crossing at a higher point where there was land, and from some tunnel, one of the hive creatures comes out really fast and pushes her back, and then she falls down on that, and the creature, her pet, can kill it, and then she can have to cross that and then meet back up with her pet on some other side or something.
That might work. I just don't want her falling all the time.
Yeah,
falling.
Right, exactly.
But I
think
think
that is really their main. That is one of the big strengths that the hive can do, is try and push creatures into the trap. So it's not like she's slipping. It's like she's being thrown off. But yeah, I get you.
Right, Mr. Wolf and I are both. There's a big ass bug right in front of me. Speaking of insects, die. Oh! I just got that ream of paper. Really? Sorry, I'm just kind of grossed out. I just got a ream of paper and it splattered over like a quarter of it.
Let's see if anybody else has any ideas on this.
Yes, please discuss while I get a piece of paper to paper.
Anybody else have any ideas or any comments on what we've come up with? We won't laugh.
Chelsea, you've played a lot of games. Oh, that is so effing gross, dude. Seriously, I've got... Ah. Should have just let it live. I was being selfish and mean. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Tomb Raider. Think of Tomb Raider, the latest game there. Have you seen any of that at all, Mr. Ray?
The movies I've seen, yeah.
They have this new, it's relatively new, and I love those action levels. The stuff that she had to, I guess, think of and improvise and climb on the walls. That's what I'm kind of seeing. What do you think, Chelsea? You played. I mean, you're a big Lara Croft fan.
Except for that's a very singular player game for the most part. It has a multiplayer, but not on the MMO scale.
True. You're right, because we're talking just strictly about the comic book right now. I mean, we could definitely make this a level design for a party. And you know what? What I want us to do is...
Can I say something?
No. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Wolf.
Like something where what? Oh, am I really laggy?
Yes.
Yeah.
You broke up a couple times. I think you broke
Can you hear me any better now?
No. Hello,
Yeah,
you still there?
We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right.
So can the IRS. Just keep that in mind.
Huh?
No.
Remember that this may be something that a player would do before they even teamed up with anybody, before they even had that ability, because this would be like getting to know your character, setting up the skills and or whatever. And
That's a good point. Very good point too.
Because this is her first. And this would be everybody, first coming of age. This is becoming an adult. This is you're becoming a warrior, and
like Mr. Ray established, this is where their proving grounds. This is where they have to pass their test.
so
that's
it wouldn't be something for a party. Anyway.
Now, make a comment here really quick. I did imagine when I was thinking about the four level quest that would be sort of Newbie Island, and that people would learn about gameplay by going through that themselves, or at least some version of it. But one thing we need to remember is while we have a comic and we have a game, we're building a world here. So whatever we build can go into the comic, can optionally go into the game, and who knows what else might come out of it, other kinds of stories.
Right.
Could become a cartoon, who knows? So what we need to be thinking about is that we're just building a world within which we can show that world to people with a comic book. We can show aspects of that world through the MMO, but we can create an entire world.
Right, and it's just like you said, and I'm guilty because I'm like, oh yeah, we need to think about level plays. I want to think about kind of game mechanics as we're going along, but you're right, this is a singular quest, and we may be able to utilize it in an actual game, may not. So as comic books concerned, we really just need to concentrate on this.
And you can always adapt it for other formats. It just kind of has to have the flavor of what you're doing, and it doesn't have to be like, oh, this path wasn't there in the comic, or
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody cares.
There's probably more than one hive on this planet.
I would, if I was
Yeah,
a betting man, I'd say yes. Let's open up for any questions or comments in the panel. I really encourage you guys and gals out there to speak up. I'm not going to kill you or make fun of you much, but I want some other input. So raise your hand if you're sure. Mr. Windex, anybody raising their hand tonight?
No.
Well, poop on a cracker. That's back to us then. I guess they enjoy listening to my voice. Yes, I must be. All right. I think this is a good starting point. And Mr. Ray, I would encourage you, let's see, up to this point, what page does this quest start? Is it page 6 or 7?
Let me see. First page is the splash screen.
Mhm.
Page 2 is on the street where they meet up with her friend whose son has just gotten his soul stone. Pages 3 and 4 cover her getting her soul stone. So page 5 is going to be her school days. Page 6 is going to be her big fight with her mom. Page 7 is where she starts the quest.
All right.
This is the last part of the quest. What we're doing right now is her last test. Her first test is hand-to-hand combat on a very small desert island that is completely surrounded by water, and that's where she picks up her beast, because the beast is supposed to help kill her, but because her stone can control other stones, it takes over the beast, has the beast kill her opponent, and then the beast becomes her pet.
Okay.
That's the first part of the quest.
I would like to, and again, this is subject to change, but I like, because this can be very visually dynamic, just like the whole desert thing, I like to see that at least 4 pages. And that's relatively just a short fight, but I don't want to condense so much into a couple pages. And like this whole cave idea quest thing, if you can keep in mind when you're writing it, let's try not to do any more than 5 panels a page. Some of them just put 3 panels so the artist can really get in there and do a lot of detail. And because we're not working for a corporation and not a huge deadline, we can draw this out a little bit. We don't want to be like, here's 1 panel, here's 1 page, 1 panel. But I really want the artist to have a chance to draw, like you said, this rich, beautiful, vibrant world. And then with Wolf dropping color on top of it, making it look that much better. I don't mind making, between all her quests, 15 to 20 pages.
Okay, so we can take 3 to 5 pages per quest without a problem.
I don't see a problem with that at all.
3 to 5 per challenge. Okay, cool.
That way we're not so condensed and you're trying to shove everything in there. And I don't know if we're going to like have her thought process where she's not actually talking, but I mean, you could put a lot of, dramatic moments, how she's thinking and what she's thinking as she's doing things too.
You can do thought balloons, you can do captions, you can add a lot of information without any dialogue.
Mm-hmm. So that's what I would encourage. So rapidly running out of time, next week, Chelsea, I'm heading to you.
Chelsea got muted, I think.
Chelsea, are you here?
No, she's
Did
not.
I get muted?
Oh, no, sorry, I was reading the chat. The other SJCs, I get mixed up.
Wishful thinking. Sometimes I wish I could mute her.
Hey.
Hey, your dad's here?
I've been here the whole time.
Oh, well, hell, how you doing?
It's always one Curtis that you're never
Just fine.
noticing here.
I've been multitasking, therefore quiet.
All right, quick recap. What do you think about what's all going on?
Great. I think some of the outfits are coming along pretty good. I do strongly agree with Ray that we need to future it up a bit and come up with some new directions for it instead of kind of Dragon Aging it up.
I agree. I concur.
It's kind of a combination between the two is probably the best.
And while you guys were working on the level, I was working on fire effects, so I am forced to openly admit that I'm completely clueless to what's going on now.
That's quite all right. You'll be happily surprised then when everything gets developed. Anyway, Chelsea, coming to you. I like what you're doing with the hairstyles. Let's continue that. Actually, you know what? Because you love Cynthia so much, I can feel that you love her. Give me 2 to 3 finished drawings over with different hairstyles and different clothes on.
I think I can do that.
I actually finished my drawing of Chelsea's kind of hairstyle if you wanted to see it.
That'd be great. Mr. Whiskey, you know what I'm thinking about. Mr. Windex, can you take Chelsea the Mouth's screen, please?
I think you mean Sydney.
Sydney's.
Damn it. I can't tell you guys apart when you're on the air. I'm a dork.
The coloring's kind of messy, but it was quick.
That's pretty cool.
Is this kind of what you're picturing, Chelsea?
Chelsea,
Hello?
you there?
Sorry, I can't keep track of whether my mic's muted or not. But yeah, I just I didn't do it over the whole head with the whenever their hair's down in mind. It's hard to tell what the shape of their head looks like.
Throw a headband on her.
I'll knock you out if you even try that.
I put a headband on her mother idea thing, and you said
You
nothing
can't
about
be
it.
freaking punk with a headband on, okay? It just doesn't work.
That's if her hair's down.
I like how you implemented the jewel on her soul stone and the small glow. That was nice. A very good touch.
Yeah, it's got the new shape, which is good. I mean, you need to be able to read that stone as being different. It has to really stand out, and I love the way you did that.
Yep.
Okay.
And we got to throw credit to Wolf. I mean, great design.
Thanks.
All right, so Chelsea, not Sid, but Chelsea, because you're loving Sentia so much. Give me 3 designs. Let's do this. Give me 1 armor, 1 casual, and then 1 you go crazy on. With the
straight
similar
there.
hair. A what?
Okay.
Nothing being a smartass.
Not surprised. Not surprised at all. Miss Sid, what do you want to work on for next week?
Well, there wasn't a whole lot of male armor done, but I don't know.
Let's continue with the male armor then. I only got let's go the direction that we're going, more futuristic. But let's.
And I planned on doing Ray's idea of like the lacy web-like armor too, trying that out.
You know what? You do that because I think you'll be really good at it. And what I'll do is I'll explore different hand weapons that are projectiles, like the one I have.
One thing that if somebody could take this on, when she goes into her first challenge, now I had imagined that what she was going to have was essentially an Alethian high-tech quarterstaff. In other words, the ends of it could maybe change shape depending on what is needed. It could get shorter or longer. And her opponent would have something similar to that. We need her opponent. Her opponent is a hardened criminal who is either going to be killed by her or is going to kill her and gain his freedom. He has absolutely nothing to lose. So this guy has been around the block. He's been beat up. He's probably got scars. He might be...
I'm on it. That's my dude.
And he has the Broad Beast, which is supposed to be coordinating with him to kill her. And we, of course, as we know, that gets turned inside out on him. So we need her opponent, and we're going to be coming up on him pretty quick. And I think he already did a really nice job a while back on the sea vultures, because they're going to be in the first challenge as well.
Okay, and your beast was Beast.
The beast, the sea vultures, her opponent, that's what's in the first challenge on a small desert island that is no other land anywhere near it.
Okay. And you know what you can do, Mr. Wolf, besides all the coloring that you're going to do, or Mr. Steve Curtis, if you'd like, let's come up with the idea where she gets teleported on. It could be as simple as a small rock base. I'd like
I
to see
actually had an idea about that I sent Ray.
Really?
Yes.
Can you pull it up?
Because I originally thought that was the page I was going to do. Hold on.
Oh, yeah, that's it. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, this is very basic, that or that. And Ray had said that she was going to put her hand on something to teleport stuff, and I hadn't known about that yet, so that's not in there.
And there should be 5 stations with one of them bigger than the other 4 because there
Yeah.
are matches for each of the 4 elements plus the head match. And the head match would be in the, so it's more a pentagram rather than a square. And yeah, there should be, what I'm imagining is that in each instance, when she teleports, there's a plinth, a sort of rock pillar that, and etched in it is the shape of a hand. She places her hand on that shape. She gets teleported to the next location. And the final one, there is one of those on the wall in the queen's chamber. She has to kill the queen to be able to get to it. When she kills the queen, she puts her hand in that, and then she's back here.
This is where she first teleports from?
She starts here.
Well, I
Then
thought she went down some kind of steps or something. Are we not?
Yeah, this was just my idea that I was picturing that everybody could watch her be teleported instead of her going behind a door where no one
This
can
is
see
an
her
alternative
and
to
being surrounded.
Okay.
my
Okay.
original idea, and I don't care either way.
Then
Yeah,
what I would like you
this kind
guys
of makes
to,
sense.
what I like you guys to develop, and I could see that it's supposed to be a joyous occasion. You're going to be coming of age. And we hope you don't die. See you later. Hopefully, maybe. If not, your little sister's getting your room. That small circle with inside the circle, what I like to see is one of you guys volunteer to design the etchings on the floor, what it may look like, and then the stand that Mr. Ray was talking about. So in every
The what
scene,
on the floor?
the way I picture some sort of runes on the floor. So if she puts her hand on there, there's magic that courses through the stone underneath her, and boom, she's gone. But what I want to do for
ruins.
Yeah, right, to have continuity. So every time she teleports to another challenge, it's the same small circle, same hand thing. So again, we're establishing way back, these are teleporting spots for the challenges. And then that way we know, we see that, we know what it is, we don't have to explain it again and again.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
All right, so you on that too, Mr. Wolf? Because you like to make stuff glow.
Sure, yeah. So it would be non-glowing, but when she puts her hand on, then it would glow.
Yep. Now, the pedestal itself, the way I envision it, may not glow, or it may be a faint glow, but the runes underneath her, when she touches it, will course with magic and glow.
Ray, are you envisioning? Oh, sorry, I'm lagging all night. Ray, how are you envisioning her teleporting? Like, does she blink out, or there's nothing opening up and her walking through it or anything? And she kind of just blinks.
Well, we could have her walk through a portal, an archway of some sort. But I was imagining her more sort of like beam me up, Scotty, kind of a thing. She puts her hand on the thing and, she sort of evaporates. And
maybe an energy disturbance happens.
Yeah, some kind of a transparent energy field that's the shape of her body, and then boom, nothing.
Because, as an artist, what we could do would be really cool. It's just a matter of layers. But, you have your one layer where her hand's on there, everything starts to glow. And then you just make her a separate layer, more transparent, and you can see what's behind her. And you have some really cool visual effects that way. And then she's gone. You do a 3-panel spread, hand there, starts to fade away, boom, gone. And then, you're in the shaft.
Yeah, it could be very much like the 3-panel sequence that Eve did, where the baby grabs the stone, and then there's 3 very quick panels that show the actual mating. All of that takes place inside of just a few seconds, but it's done in a little arc of panels. And you could have her leaving. I think once we've shown it here, we don't have to do that every time she teleports, but we'll have made it very clear with this first one. I like that idea. We really set the stage with this first time she teleports, so that from that time forward, whenever there's a circle with a stone pillar with a hand, hollow hand sign for her to touch, we know that that's going to be a teleport.
Awesome.
Also, I can, I mean, it doesn't matter if the lines are there in full black. I can just put a mask and kind of fade them out.
True.
So-
That's a good idea too.
So, because
All right, everybody. We have our assignments, and we'll continue to move forward, continue to swim like a shark. We do not stop or we die, so we continue to create. Wrap up. Go around the table. Mr. Ray, any last thoughts?
I think we got a lot of stuff nailed down this time, and I really look forward to next week.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Mr. Steve Curtis, stop picking your nose.
I like cake. That's
All right. Muffins. Hey, Steve.
Yeah.
Suck it. Suck it.
Suck it.
Suck it. Okay. Sid, any last thoughts?
I've inherited Dad's likeness for cake.
Suck
You
it.
don't look at all like a cake. Stop.
But your dad does.
Hey.
Hey, now he's paying attention. Who in the hell was I was talking to, Sid or Chelsea?
Sid.
I knew that. Chelsea, any last thoughts?
No,
You're-
not really.
All right.
And that's who in the heck, Mr. We're being recorded.
Yeah. Wolf, any last thoughts?
I did have one for Ray, but I forgot it. So,
I have it. Crap, I just lost it again. Mr. Nelson, Mr. Windex, do you have any last thoughts for tonight?
There was a quick question by Mr. Richard. He says, because he can't partake with the voice, I would like to have a chat with team regarding updating the spells and visuals for them to account for the shift away from fantasy for the Lethians. Can we square away a time for a meeting?
I can. Let me write this down so I do not forget. Mr. Steve, when's a good time for you?
Any time in the evening works, I guess.
Let's shoot for Monday night then at, say, 9 o'clock my time, so it'll be 8 Central, or whatever you guys are.
Yeah, it works for me.
Does that work for Mr. Richard? And I feel bad that, I mean, we're not really changing the big direction, but I honestly feel that
Yeah, I
Mr. Ray
think a
made
lot
some
of the
very good
elemental
points.
stuff will still be there.
Right.
And this is right. I thought that the work he did on the spells
Was
worked
awesome.
just fine because the Lethians would certainly use their crystals to do the kind of energy projections and stuff that he was doing. So I don't see anything wrong with what he already did.
I don't see any conflict either.
Who's Nitro?
Lows, that sort of thing, I think would work just fine. We might just want to add to it.
Hi, Nitro.
Richard said that time works
I never
fine.
get to see this list. I never get to see this list, so
Nitro is Ryan.
I mean, by futuristic, I mean, we're not talking like cables and, different gears and stuff, I
but
think
why
it's just
not?
kind of a different sleeker. Well,
You could have
I mean-
fiber optics. I mean, and let's maybe explore that route. But I still want to have the hand-to-hand combat weapons. I love that idea. I want to have crystalline, like you said, sort of armor or coral-like. This is the beauty thing about it. And this is what sucks, but it's great at the same time, because if you go back to the first 2 or 3 classes that we had, it was all about medieval stuff, and oftentimes this is what happens. Ideas evolve, and they get changed, and most of the time they get better unless you're X-Men 2 or X-Men 3, Let's Stand, or Wolverine. They all sucked, but we're not going to go down that route. We're going to continue to get better, and we might be able to explore some cable-esque looking things. I don't know.
because I mean, personally, I had thought that maybe we were going like that same kind of basic style, but just kind of updating it to something a little different, a little more sleek, or something that looks a little future.
Well, you can have the look of it pay homage to their heritage. I mean, there are plenty of people in Scotland who run around in kilts, but they don't fight in them.
Right,
I mean,
but I mean, what's special? I mean, it's like, I think, I mean, we can just go. I mean, at a certain point, if you make it too much like the human technology and stuff, then you kind of lose what's special about them, and it's just kind of go, why not they just
I
have
don't
technology?
want it to look. I don't want it to look like today's human technology. I don't want it to look like our technology in medieval times either. That's human technology. What I'm asking people to do is think about what can you come up with based on the idea that you have these living crystals that are creatures. So that's why I was saying maybe you had these little stones that protected themselves, and the Alethians used that to create a suit that had a force field.
Right.
Maybe you have creatures that, silicon creatures that camouflage themselves by blending into the background better than any chameleon ever could. And the Alethians have used their ability to do that to create their version of an iPad.
Right. Yeah. See, I'd like it to be.
I'm talking about.
I like it to be more like that, because I mean, we're already going to have humans. Eventually, we're going to have humans, and they're going to have the gears. They're going to have the cables and stuff. So, I think if we were wanting them to be, there be a contrast between the two.
Yeah,
it would be really difficult to go, okay, this is an Alethian mech suit, not a, this is
no Alethian mechs. No Alethian mechs.
No, that'd be silly.
Yeah, but what I hope we can come up with, if people just let their imaginations run a little bit with the concept, is stuff that's different from anything. It's
that's very difficult to do, though.
It's unique. It's not, that's why I said pick an everyday activity and figure out how would I do that if I lived on a planet where I could get these stones that had these powers. And for example, I just talked about two kinds of stones that were protecting themselves, one by blending in, another by force field. That must mean they need to be protected from something. So are there creatures on Alethea that can somehow drain the energy from the stones that they're afraid of? Let your mind go in those kinds of directions, and we can create a really interesting world here that's not like anything else.
Amen. With that, guys, we got to wrap things up. I still have studio work stuff I've got to get done, but we'll continue this conversation, I'm sure, next week. We all have our assignments. NATO, I have seen some of your posts on 3D Buzz, and every time I sit down to start trying to type you what's going on, you had some very good questions, and I want to give you homage and call you out and say my bad for not responding quickly to you. So we'll try to get with you very shortly. We have more news, things that are going to be coming to develop. We have a radio show this next Friday night. It is, what is it, Mr. Nelson? 6 Eastern?
Yeah, or 6 Central.
6 Central, so 5 my time. And then we're going to have a very special guest. His name is, how do you say his last? Aaron Nowick. I can't pronounce his last name. Anyway, he's part of a studio. He's got some good money invested. He's young. He's actually a business major. And his buddy Eric deals in all programming and coding. Aaron, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Steve, he's like in some sort of weird, how the hell do you say it? You here, Steve?
Yeah, I'm here.
His business, decision-making, quantum physics decision-making.
Oh, God, I don't remember.
I just draw pretty chicks and guns.
Let's find business analyst or something like that. I don't know.
But it's very interesting how he got a hold of us as an artist. how far it's come to get him to where he's at right now, what he's actually utilizing his college degree for. I mean, there's a lot of gold nuggets for people wanting to develop their own game. He's going to be on the air with us Friday, him and his programmer. So hopefully Nelson will be in his arena, and we hope to, again, link you up to his homepage, and maybe he'll need more artists as well. We're going to set up a spot where if you're wanting to do the comic book with Shot in the Dark Comics, I need links to Facebook, not Facebook, but DeviantArt pages or your art things. And we just have a lot of great things coming up with 3D Buzz. So stay patient, stay vigilant, and dream the Crow Black dream. Keep your feet on the ground and your ankles slightly above them. Mr. Whiskey, damn it. Windex, take us out of here, baby.